Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely foundational for every single project manager out there. We spend so much time obsessing over schedules and budgets, right? But here's the thing. While technical skills might start projects, it's actually ethical leadership that truly sustains them. So let's unpack the PMI Code of Ethics together and see how it really functions as our ultimate survival guide for the real world. Okay, I want you to imagine this for a second. You're sitting in a tense, closed-door meeting. Your project sponsor leans over and demands that you delay reporting a massive 20% budget overrun until next quarter, just to secure some additional funding. If you report it right now, boom, the project might be canceled entirely. But if you hide it, you're actively deceiving your stakeholders. You are literally in the hot seat. So what do? Do you protect the project's status, or do you protect your own professional integrity? It's a massive high-stakes dilemma where just one choice could completely destroy both the project and your reputation. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our agenda for today's professional learning module. First, the high-stakes project dilemma. Second, the 4 core pillars. Third, aspirational versus mandatory standards. Fourth, navigating conflicts of interest. Fifth, the decision-making framework. And finally, number 6, the project integrity check. Section 1, the high-stakes project dilemma. Navigating real-world pressure. Ethics can honestly feel pretty abstract, right up until you're the one actually sitting in the hot seat, facing intense stakeholder pressure. We can see that friction really clearly here. On one side, you've got stakeholder demands and, let's be real, self-preservation. But on the other side, the PMI Code mandates, specifically your duties of honesty and responsibility. The code absolutely mandates truthful and timely communication. So withholding information just to save a project? Yeah, that's a direct violation. You really can't just wish this pressure away, which means you need a rock-solid foundation to actually manage it. Section 2, the 4 core pillars, the foundation of the PMI Code. So what exactly is this code anyway? Well, it's definitely not just some boring list of rules. It actually defines the expectations that we have of ourselves and of our fellow practitioners. The whole goal is to instill confidence in the global project management profession. And hey, if you happen to be preparing for your PMP certification right now, definitely keep this in mind. Situational ethics questions form a huge part of the exam. They want to test your real-world judgment, not just your ability to memorize a textbook. These 4 core values, responsibility, respect, fairness, and honesty, these are basically your mental anchors. Responsibility is all about taking true ownership of your decisions and their consequences. Respect means showing high regard for yourself, for others, and for the resources you manage. Fairness, that means acting with impartiality and proactively managing any conflicts. And honesty is just an unwavering, non-negotiable commitment to the truth. Remember our opening thought? Technical skills start projects, but these 4 pillars of ethical leadership are what actually sustain them. Section 3, aspirational versus mandatory standards. Knowing your professional boundaries. So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding the stark difference between these 2 types of standards. Aspirational standards are the ideals we earnestly strive to uphold, things like mentoring a junior team member or sharing best practices. If you fall short on these, well, it's simply a missed opportunity for your own growth. Mandatory standards, on the other hand, are strict, non-negotiable baselines. Refusing to falsify metrics or hide a budget overrun, that falls squarely right here. Failure to uphold a mandatory standard will literally bring disciplinary action and could absolutely cost you your PMI credentials. Now, these 2 concepts actually work hand in hand to build a complete, robust, professional framework. But here's a really important realization. They aren't mutually exclusive. A specific act, or even your failure to act, could actually violate both an aspirational ideal and a mandatory baseline at the exact same time. It's totally intertwined. Let's look at how this breaks down specifically within the pillar of responsibility. On the aspirational side, we actively strive to promote stewardship and fulfill all our commitments. But look at the mandatory baseline. It outright requires us to protect confidential information, strictly uphold laws, and report any code violations to the proper authority. We have to own the consequences of what we do and honestly what we fail to do as well. Section 4, navigating conflicts of interest, balancing competing loyalties. Now, what's really interesting about this is that under the pillar of fairness, conflicting duties of loyalty are actually the most frequently reported problem in our entire profession. Think of it like a giant balance scale. You are standing right in the middle. On one side, you have your duty to your employer, and on the other side, your duty to PMI standards. When these loyalties clash, your mandatory response is threefold. First, proactively disclose the conflict.
Second, recuse yourself from influencing any decisions related to it. And third, manage the perception. Even if you genuinely believe you can stay totally impartial, treating the mere appearance of a conflict as an actual conflict is 100% required.
Section 5, the Decision-Making Framework, a process-oriented toolkit for high-stakes situations. Okay, so instead of just throwing abstract rules at you, we're going to equip you with a really practical mechanism for when the pressure hits. It's a simple 5-step pipeline. First, you assess the situation and gather the raw facts. Second, identify the relevant standards, like which of those 4 pillars actually apply here. Third, consider your options and really think about their ripple effects. Fourth, make a definitive decision and just act. And finally, step 5, reflect on the outcome to sharpen your future judgment. Stepping through this pipeline methodically is what removes the panic from the equation. Notice how it builds logically. By starting with the actual grounded reality in step 1, you create a defensible path all the way to taking definitive ownership in step 4. It is a framework designed specifically to help us make the right call when we are under extreme real-world pressure.
Section 6, the Project Integrity Check, resolving the budget overrun dilemma.
Consider this your ultimate cheat sheet, a final check before you lock in any critical project decision. Ask yourself these questions. Is it legal? Is it transparent? Or are we secretly hiding context? Is it fair? And then consider the front page test. Would you really be comfortable seeing your decision to hide a 20% budget overrun splashed right across the front page of tomorrow's news? Probably not, right? And finally, does it protect stakeholder trust? If your answer is no to literally any of these, well, you have your answer. So, bringing it full circle, how do we actually resolve that sponsor's demand to delay reporting the budget overrun? We lean right on our mandatory standards. Withholding information is basically deception. It directly violates the mandatory standard of honesty, and it completely violates your duty of responsibility. The only ethical choice, the absolute only choice that protects your integrity, is to communicate that project status transparently right now. But wait, you don't just drop a bomb and run away, right? You step up like a true leader by simultaneously presenting actionable mitigation and recovery options. And there we have it. The blueprint is complete. The PMI Code of Ethics is such a powerful reminder that every single choice we make truly matters. The credibility, the whole reputation of the global project management profession doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It is shaped day by day, decision by decision, by the collective conduct of individual practitioners just like you and me. It all comes back to this one. Incredibly powerful reminder, something to definitely keep in your back pocket during your next high-pressure meeting. Technical skills may start projects, but ethical leadership sustains them. So, I'm going to leave you with this thought to really chew on. When the pressure is fully on, your sponsor is shouting, and that project budget is deep, deep in the red, what ethical legacy will you choose to leave as a project leader? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Learning reinforcement.
Corporate project management often forces professionals into high-pressure environments where critical decisions carry the weight of millions of dollars. Imagine discovering a massive 20% budget overrun on a high-priority project mid-cycle. When you alert the sponsor, they issue an ultimatum: delay reporting the overrun until the next fiscal quarter to secure funding, or the project will be canceled immediately. Complying ensures the project survives the week, but your professional data integrity is permanently compromised. Refusing kills the project today and invites immediate backlash from powerful stakeholders. This creates a false binary, forcing a choice between the project's immediate survival and your own professional integrity. In high-stakes survival scenarios, human intuition naturally prioritizes self-preservation and conflict avoidance.
Relying on subjective common sense fails in complex organizations, where personal morality often creates catastrophic conflicts of interest. Resolving these dilemmas requires a formalized, objective analytical structure rather than gut feeling. The PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct provides this globally recognized framework specifically to resolve professional conflicts. The code functions as a critical risk management tool, protecting your career and your decision-making process. The code is built on 4 core pillars: responsibility, respect, fairness, and honesty. These values serve as the non-negotiable axioms that drive every project management decision.
This comparison matrix shows how the code operationalizes these values through a strict two-tiered system of standards. Aspirational standards describe the conduct we strive to uphold, such as mentoring. Failing to meet an aspirational standard is a missed opportunity for professional growth. Mandatory standards establish firm requirements that actively limit or prohibit specific practitioner behaviors. Violating a mandatory standard triggers disciplinary action before the PMI Ethics Review Committee and can result in the immediate loss of your credentials. This two-tiered architecture prevents practitioners from confusing professional ideals with non-negotiable professional laws. We can apply this logic to the sponsor's demand to hide the 20% budget overrun. Evaluated against the aspirational standards, withholding those numbers lacks the professional transparency the global community strives to uphold. Under the mandatory standards, it crosses a defined line. The code mandates strict requirements for accurate reporting and truthfulness in project metrics. Deliberately delaying the budget report violates the mandatory standards of honesty and responsibility, making you liable for disciplinary action. Applying the code immediately eliminates the option to hide the data, forcing a shift toward an objective, process-driven resolution. Recognizing a violation does not solve the immediate confrontation with a high-level project sponsor. This flowchart represents the PMI Ethical Decision-Making Framework, the operational workflow designed for these high-stakes interactions. Steps 1 and 2 require you to assess and identify. You gather objective facts regarding the overrun and pinpoint the specific mandatory standards governing honesty. Step 3 is considering options. You evaluate how to present the unalterable truth while simultaneously mitigating the sponsor's financial panic. Step 4 is decide and act. You formulate a direct communication strategy that presents the overrun transparently while immediately pivoting to actionable recovery plans. Step 5 requires reflection. You formally document the interaction and the project outcome for future institutional governance. This 5-step framework replaces subjective panic with a defensible, process-driven leadership strategy. This overlay shows the final fail-safe mechanism, the 5-step project integrity check. Running the transparent report against these questions verifies its legality and ultimate transparency. You evaluate if the action is fair and objective to all stakeholders, rather than just the immediate sponsor. The front page test asks if you would be comfortable with this decision appearing in the public news cycle tomorrow. The final resolution is to communicate the real project status transparently while presenting mitigation actions, upholding both honesty and responsibility. The PMI Code of Ethics provides a protective shield, empowering you with the objective logic required to navigate severe corporate pressure while maintaining your professional integrity.